Welcome to This Week in East Brunswick. Today we visit the 38th annual St. Mary's Coptic Orthodox Church's Egyptian Festival as we check out all the food and festivities. Then we stop by the East Brunswick Historical Society where they sponsored a free lecture program as Michael O'Donnell spoke about the Revolutionary War and how key battles here in New Jersey helped shape the outcome of the war. Then we head to Churchill Junior High School where the East Brunswick High School varsity girls volleyball team held their annual Pink Out volleyball game to raise awareness and funds for breast cancer research. And we also have highlights from the recent senior night that honored the graduating players on the team. All this, plus we profile a local artist and woodcarver to talk about his craft and his process. So stay with us. This Week in East Brunswick starts now.
I'm Hamza Sharif reporting for This Week in East Brunswick. I'm here at St. Mary's Coptic Orthodox Church reporting for the 38th Annual Egyptian Festival. Come with me to see the festivities and the culture.
This kind of festival or feast, people come out and get a touch of what those people are all about. So if I wanted to find out about another heritage, I go to their feast and then I'll find out a little bit about their history. And as you could see, everybody, all the youth here are proud of their heritage. Even though 99.9% of them were born in this country, okay, in the United States, and at the same time, they feel proud. If you have a heritage, you want to show it to other people. And we share with them one common thing, that we all have to live with one another in peace and harmony.
I try to get all the youth in the church involved. That's my main purpose. We have lots of kids here, so we're blessed to have a very active church and active youth environment. So as you can see, they're all wearing the red shirts, and they're all serving and helping out, and that's the goal, to get them involved in their church so they can feel pride in their faith and in their church and in the community also.
As you can see, we have a very big population in this town, so we're trying to share everything that we love and everything that we have a passion for with everyone around us.
So I've noticed you guys have got quite a big turnout here, so how many people are expected to come?
About over 1,000 throughout the weekend are expected to be here. The purpose of this is for fellowship with the community, and fellowship with our own congregation and members, and to share our faith and our culture and all of the Coptic Egyptian heritage.
So I see here that you have a lot of festivities for the kids, so could you tell us more about that?
So in the festival, we're offering not just food, we're offering tours of the church's faith, and we have a lot of activities for the youth. You'll see outdoor activities, you'll see Egyptian grocery to my right, you'll see a lot of activities here.
And we also, this year, a lot of younger kids are helping. Last year was mostly high school and college, but this year we're trying to get the middle schoolers involved because we're trying to get them to root them in service in the church and to make sure that as they grow up, they stay serving and stay helping in the church.
It'd be nice if you get an opportunity to come to the festival this year, any year, is to ask for a tour, to see the icons, the Coptic art. We're displaying a lot about the Coptic art, which is very different from other Christian art. So it'd be nice for you to take a look at the actual building of the church, the structure. I'm sure it's a unique experience for everyone.
And we have we have youth volunteers, and you don't get to choose, but you have an option to choose whether you do a tour or not. And I decided to choose tours because I like talking in front of people. I have a skill of public speaking, and also I think it's fun to learn more about my church's history through it.
And why do you feel it is important for people to get involved with taking a tour of the church?
I think so. I think it's important because you want them to learn more about our church's faith and about like how our church is symbolized and everything that goes on in our church. And we do learn that a lot, like on Saturdays and Mondays during our classes. But with this tour, I'm able to learn a lot more that we don't get to cover in that 1 hour, like a week that we have. So I think that's why it's pretty important that we do our tours and for you guys to learn about our church, so that more people can come and see how our faith works.
So, can you tell me why it is important for the youth volunteers to get involved with such a program like this?
Our church believes in ownership. The church, the late Pope Shenouda always said that a church without a youth is a church without a future. So our youth really partake in ownership of what the festival holds and how we present our church and our future.
We have to get everybody involved. We have to pass it down from generation to generation. Church is not only a building, is not only the pews, is not only the structure or the area. A church is the community. The church is the youth, and everybody has to take part in the in everything we do. Service, whether in service in the church, small or big. We always rely on the youth to provide services and feel the sense of belonging. That's what we encourage everybody to take part, especially the youth.
And all of us, whether it's elementary school, middle school, high school, we're all working together and we all provide different services for the church.
I've noticed there's a lot of food and festivities here, so can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Okay, we'll start with food, of course. Okay, we have, as you could see, the barbecue over there. We have what's called, we call it kofta, but it's same as the hamburger in the United States. That's a very common meal, skewered in Egypt. We have chicken kebab, and we have shish kebab.
Let's not forget the Egyptian desserts. We have a whole station of lots of baklava, kunafa, all kinds of desserts. They're very delicious. You should try them. Egypt is famous for its unique type of desserts, and we have a whole bar inside that's full of that.
Why do you feel it's important to come out today?
Well, I've been coming here for many years. Actually, I live right down the corner from here, so this is an opportunity that the church welcomes the community to come in and find out about what they're about, a little bit about the religion. They frequently have tours of the religious facilities. They're very, very beautiful facilities. They talk a little bit about their religion and their beliefs. And we have such a diverse community. Middlesex County is one of the most diverse communities in the country. So having opportunities to share our culture and our religious beliefs and our differences together is what helps us to be able to come together. People come from all over the world to live in America, to live in a free country, and we want to value and treasure all of our differences but live in a peaceful way together. So finding that common ground that we're all for, making sure that we have jobs and a good economy for our families to be able to support us, to make sure we can have great education for our kids, to make sure that we have a safe community. These are all common goals that we share, but yet we have differences and we want to appreciate and relish the differences. Every year when they have this event, they bring in priests and monks from all over the world. So it's interesting to see that we have the opportunity to think outside of our own town, and so that we can think at the national level and at the international level and be able to educate ourselves about what is happening around the world and still be able to, again, come together as a community.
This is Hamza Sharif reporting for This Week in East Brunswick. Hope that you enjoyed yourself. I hope you enjoyed the food and festivities at the 38th Annual Egyptian Festival. Hope to see you all next year.
American movements from the eyes of the British. Washington also had the good fortune to have a contingent of New England fishermen in his army, and they all knew how to row boats.
The free lecture series offered by the East Brunswick Historical Society continued last Sunday with speaker Michael O'Donnell. Mr. O'Donnell's talk focused on the battles that saved the American Revolution, Trenton and Princeton.
In my summary is between July and December 1776, George Washington and the American colonists fought over a half dozen battles against the British Army. The Americans lost all of them. New York City had fallen to the British, and the Americans had been driven out of New York State and almost all of New Jersey. The American Congress fled Philadelphia, and our nation's capital. The enlistments of most American soldiers were due to expire with the new year, and George Washington needed a miracle. In the last hour of New Year's Day, Washington would learn that on December the 27th, by the vote of Congress, he had authorized to use every endeavor, including bounties, to prevail upon the troops to stay within the Army. Indeed, for a period of 6 months, the Congress at Baltimore had made him a virtual dictator. On January the 1st, 1777, Cornwallis and his men had reached Princeton. Okay, so they're coming on fast. On January the 2nd, he left part of his force there, and with 5,500 strong, set off down the road to Trenton, 10 miles away. The British drove the Americans out of Trenton. However, when they tried to take the bridge over the Assunpink Creek, they were stopped by Henry Knox's cannons. 3 times the British infantry stormed the bridge, and 3 times they were driven back. So in this second Battle of Trenton, which nobody knows about, the Americans give ground, but once again inflict more casualties on the British than they themselves endured. And the last light of day, Cornwallis and his commanders had convened to decide whether to carry the attack across the Assunpink still again or wait for daylight. Cornwallis said, "We'll bag the old fox in the morning." Washington was now trapped against the Delaware River, and it looked like he could not get out. But when morning came, the Americans were gone, leaving a small force to keep the fires burning and make the appropriate noises of an enemy army settling in for the night. Washington and some 5,500 men, horses, and cannons had stolen away in the dark. But instead of heading south to Bordentown, as would be expected, he struck off on a wide, daring sweep on a little-known back roads to attack Cornwallis's rear guard at Princeton. So he's going around Cornwallis. Cornwallis finds he's going to Bordentown. So Cornwallis is going the wrong way, and Washington's moving on toward Princeton. The Battle of Princeton broke out at sunrise January 3rd, 1777, when the American vanguard and British forces ran into each other 2 miles outside Princeton. Both sides opened fire, and in a battle that quickly escalated on the sweeping open fields and orchard of William Clark's farm, the fighting turned to as furious as any of the war, the dead and bleeding lying everywhere. One of Washington's favorite generals, Hugh Mercer County, was bayoneted 7 times by the British and left for dead. The Americans were beginning to falter when Washington arrived with the rest of the army. Washington rode in front of his troops and yelled, "Parade with us, my brave fellows. There is but a handful of the enemy, and we will have them directly." The British soon recognized they were up against the whole American army and fled. Washington, unable to resist, spurred his horse and took after them, shouting, "It's a fine fox hunt, my boys!" And the ferocious battle on Clark's farm, the deciding action of the day, had lasted all of 15 minutes. I'm also an instructor at the Rutgers Osher Lifelong Learning Institute, and it's a school for senior citizens. No term papers, no tests. You just take courses, very reasonably priced, and they have a website, oliru.rutgers.edu, or you can call for a free catalog at 848-932-6554. And I'm glad to be here at the East Brunswick Historical Society, a very lovely institution. And would there be more places like this in New Jersey? I encourage you to join the East Brunswick Historical Society, because you will be meeting people who are interested in history and who are your neighbors. And you can make friends in your senior years, which is something very hard to do. Now, you're all familiar with the famous picture of Washington standing up in the boat crossing the Delaware. And when I was in school, my teacher said, "What a ridiculous idea that the man would stand up in the boat and expose himself to enemy fire if there had been any troops there." But Washington may have stood in the boat because there was water inside the boat 2 inches deep, and he wished to avoid the medical condition known as FB, frozen bum. If you sit in cold water and you get out, you're going to have a frozen bum. So he may well have stood.
Good evening and welcome to Churchill Junior High School. I'm Christian Azzo, the Supervisor of Physical Education and Athletics, and Churchill is our home for our girls volleyball team this season. Tonight, the girls, the parents, the coaches put together a great event, Volley for the Cure, Play for Pink game, whatever you want to call it. This year's theme is Win the Battle. The girls have done a great job supporting the Susan G. Komen Foundation. All proceeds from tonight's game is going to go to them, and there'll be a presentation sometime in November.
Every year we get together and we do a fundraising event for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and all proceeds go to Susan G. Komen, the Central and South Jersey. The girls worked very hard to put this all together. Well, we start actually planning this in the summer. We start sending letters out to local vendors to see what they'll donate as far as the baskets. And we raffle those off, and then all the proceeds go directly to the charity. We also do 50-50. We do T-shirt sales and food and vendor sales. Oh, I love giving back. Anytime that I could see, an opportunity to raise money, especially for breast cancer awareness, because there's so many people out there that are suffering and that need help, and this is a great organization that will help those in need. Well, it's a message to the girls is that, that it's always good to pay it forward. Be out there, do charitable work, do things to help other people when it's needed, and they see our enthusiasm as adults, and then they carry it on into adulthood as well. If you were unable to come tonight and see the game, you are more than welcome to do a donation to Susan G. Komen. You could send it directly to the East Brunswick Girls Volleyball program. You can send on my email address, donnazim@verizon.net. Just send me an email and we'll work out a way for you, the donation to get put through.
Again, I'd like to thank the parents, the coaches, the athletes, and of course Mother Seton for being involved in this game. They've also done their share for trying to raise money as well. So thank you everyone, and good luck to both teams.
The Lady Bears also recently held their senior night to celebrate and honor the graduating seniors and their parents for their commitment to the program. The Bears defeated North Brunswick Raiders in 3 sets and will look to carry their regular season success into the upcoming GMC tournament and state playoffs. Now let's meet the seniors.
Hi, I'm Roman Horoshevsky. I'm an artist and woodcarver here in Princeton Junction, New Jersey. I've always been fairly artistic as a child, always drawing and painting. And I also grew up in a family using a lot of tools, and it was just kind of a natural blend of the two. And I've always liked working with wood, and so it was, I don't know, it was just kind of happened over time. It's really, it's kind of like drawing in wood to a certain degree. Not completely. It's a little bit different than drawing or painting in the sense that wood carving or stone carving, it's a subtractive art as opposed to an additive art. In painting, you're adding paint to the canvas, or in drawing, you're adding pencil to the page. But in carving, you're taking away. So you kind of have to find what you're looking for in the wood. And so you're working with material that is not necessarily always forgiving to you. There are sometimes hidden flaws in it. You have to be cognizant of the grain of the wood and which direction the grain is running. The type of wood. Wood runs in a broad range of hardness. And there's a scale to measure the hardness called the Janka scale. It can range from something like, I think most people are familiar with balsa wood, which is very soft, all the way up to woods like bloodwood and ironwood, which are incredibly hard. I've worked with bloodwood before, and it has literally chipped my steel tools. It's so hard. And so you have to be cognizant of what you're working with that way, and when you're designing things. It's a process like anything else, and you plan it out, you work through the steps. I draw the designs out on paper, and then begin working through. It starts out with roughing it out, cutting the wood to rough size. And I finish all of my carvings by hand, but I still use machines, table saws and band saws and drill presses to get basic shapes. If I did all that by hand, it would take me forever to do. But all the finished surfaces are all done by hand, and all the basic carving is done by hand. And it's kind of it's a really nice way to come out here and disconnect. You're not on a computer or on your phone or anything like that. And it's really, I kind of come out here and lose myself. I get a tremendous satisfaction out of making something with my hands. At the end of the day, hey, here it is, and and it's for for someone a client that's asked me to make them something, and they really enjoy it, and it's just something different. But mainly, more than anything, it's just because I enjoy doing it. It's a satisfaction to go from something in my head that I then put on paper, and then I put a lot of work into it, and at the end of the day, there's this finished product that people are like, wow, that's really nice. So I'm self-taught. There are different master carvers from around the world that have websites with video lessons and things. So I've done a lot of that and watching those. But unfortunately, I don't have the luxury of apprenticing myself to a master wood carver that they're going to teach you a lot of tricks. So I've learned a lot over time by making a lot of mistakes. So hopefully I make a mistake once, I don't make the mistake again. So any advice on the path if you're going to pick up any hobby, whether it be woodworking or pottery or anything of the craft, I would just say go ahead and do it. That's the main thing, is just to go ahead and do it. I know it seems like, especially among men, they're very often like, I get the comment a lot. I've been to some art shows, and they're like, wow, I've always wanted to do woodworking. And I was always kind of that way until a few years ago, and I'm like, I just decided to finally just to do it. And for me, it's a bit of a passion. I mean, there is an investment in it, obviously, in terms of money and time, but I get more out of it than I put into it. But mainly, it's just, you got to just kind of get off the fence and just finally decide, hey, I'm just going to do it and I'm going to try it. And for a lot of different things, I'm sure there are classes at different community colleges or different art schools that you can certainly go to try your hand at it. But more than anything, is just get out there and try it and see what happens. One of the unique things I actually do with my wood, if you look at a lot of the number of pieces I do, there's a broad variety of color in them. However, I don't use any paint, stains, or dyes in any of my work. All of the work is the natural color of the wood. And a lot of people don't realize it, but wood comes in literally the entire rainbow of colors, from purple and then all the way across the spectrum back to red. You can get pretty much any color in between, including blues and yellows and greens. So people are quite surprised at that, and that's one of the things that the kind of little trademark that I have is is using the full color of rainbow of the woods. When I've gone to museums and you see, they have a little furniture section, I'll sit and look at I'll look at the carved furniture and look at it and go, wow, that's a masterpiece. Hopefully I can at someday be able to carve like that. But what actually gives me a little bit of confidence when I do that is that when you look at it from a distance, it's beautiful. But when I go up and look at it really closely, and I'll take I look at it a little bit different than maybe a lot of people do, just because of the fact that I do carves. I'll look at it and I'll see, oh, that's not quite perfect. There's a little bit of mistakes here and there, and you realize that even the masters weren't perfect at what they did. Or you realize, wow, they didn't try to be perfect because they were creating not an illusion, but it wasn't meant to be looked at really up close. And they did some quick cuts here and there, but when you look at it from a distance, it looks beautiful. It's only when you get up close you realize, oh, it's just kind of choppy shortcuts. And so that also gives me a lot of ideas, and it teaches me lessons, and then also says, wow, I don't have to be absolutely perfect in what you do. Yeah, I feel a connection with the past, and you know, you'll look at these tools, and then you'll sometimes see an older tool with a number of names on it, and you realize that as a craftsman who works with hand tools, that I don't own my tools in a sense. I'm a caretaker for them, because realizing that more than likely somebody 100 years from now will be using those tools. So I'm just here to take care of them in the meantime and use them, and then they'll get passed on down. So yeah, you do feel a connection with the past and the future in a sense. The past, yeah, I have this tool that's 150 years old and another name on it, but I'll have it for a period of time, and guess what? This gouge will be good for another 150 years, and who knows who'll have it now. So you're kind of more not even as much a connection with the past as you're part of a continuum that stretches into the past and will stretch into the future long after I'm gone. So if you're looking to take a look at more of my work or contact me about having a piece commissioned, you can find me on Facebook at RH Woodcarving, or you can email me at rhcarving@gmail.com.